Sup? This is Greggatron. This, 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 this. Look at it. Yeah. Yeah. Look at it. This. Yeah. 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 This is how are y'all? Alright, it's Labor Day. It's my day off. So I'm gonna go to the park and practice some sword swinging. Anyway, speaking of sword swinging, I was like, you know what? It's my day off. Today, I need to talk about this. Yeah. One of my favorite games, probably of all time. And I haven't done a video game review in a long time. Probably since the Spider-Man games. But Ghost of Tsushima is incredible. Where do I begin with this game? The feel of this game is just magnificent. It feels authentic. It feels real. The tone, the mood, the setting, the everything, the music. This is the stuff. It really is. This guy on the front cover, obviously he's the main character. That's Jin Sakai. Jin Sakai, essentially, they call him the Ghost for a reason. And I'm not going to say why, because I don't want to give it away. Just know that they call him the Ghost. And it's about him versus the Mongols, and this is in like feudal Japan, right? Now, what's great about this game is it's broken up into like 3 parts. The first part, you're trying to save your uncle because your uncle was captured by the Mongols, and your uncle essentially is the leader of the clan. So that's just Act 1. Act 2, you're trying to regain the castle that the Mongols had stolen from your uncle. In Act 3, you're trying to defeat the Mongols all together. So each act is like, wow, each act is like its own game in itself. Great story. Furthermore, you have a mode called Legends, which is like an online challenge mode, but you don't have to be online to do it. That feels like it's its own game. Legends, which is actually, and I didn't realize this, but Legends is actually probably more fun than the actual campaign, which is rare. What's great about Legends is Legends you just go in. There's the story maps, there's the rivals maps, there's different types of challenge maps, and depending on what you're doing, that stuff can be fun. The story maps, there's like 3 different missions in one. And then there's a survival one where it's kind of like there's these areas that you go to defeat people, then you have to defend that area. But you have to defend all 3 of them simultaneously. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I could talk about Legends for a long time, because I spent a lot of time on Legends. Now, if you get the deluxe edition, which is this one, director's cut, rather, because I was talking to a guy on YouTube, Face, the homie. Shout out to Face. Face told me, hey, make sure when you get it, make sure you get the director's cut. And I'm just thinking, what's the difference? Probably some costumes, right? No. When you get this version, it comes with a DLC pack called Icky Island. Icky Island is a whole expansion pack with a whole different story on its own. It takes place on this island called Icky Island. And you're going to spend a lot of hours on Icky Island. So once that opens up for you, you can either do it then all at once, or you can kind of go back and forth to it. But Icky Island also feels like it's its own game. So you got the 3 acts, you got Icky Island, and you got Legends. So it's almost like 5 games wrapped in one. One thing I really like about this game is when you're riding on your horse, when you're traveling, because it's real peaceful. You can hunt boar, you can kill bears, collect their hides, use that to upgrade your weapons and whatnot. You can find enemies just wandering around. And the Mongols are not your only enemies. There's bandits and all kinds of other people. Sometimes the bandits are fighting bears. You can interrupt that battle and kill both of them, take their stuff, loot them. It's a lot of fun. I like one thing, Jin Sakai. I'm going to talk about the character in a minute. I like how he's one with nature. So there's these little side quests you can do where a fox will lead you to, I guess they call it the fox den. And wherever that little fox leads you, you get more resolve. Resolve is basically more energy as far as being able to do your special attacks or heal. So you got that. There's another side quest you can do where you're practicing your shooting, with a bow and arrow. When you do that in a certain amount of time, you also get more resolve or something like that. Speaking of side quests, a lot of the characters, every character actually is somehow important. You have a guy who's a monk. He's cool. He wants to defend his Shaolin people. He has a staff with a blade on it. He's great. You have another master who is the archery master. He's dope. His whole side thing is he's looking for this woman called Tomoe, because she's like a rogue archer, and she took all his teachings and now she's using them against what he stood for. So that's a side quest. You got this lady named Lady Masako. She's good. She's got her own side thing. But I will say every side character is important, and each of these characters has a role to play in the actual campaign. So they are there for a reason. Now, speaking of characters, let me talk about Jin Sakai. This dude, this dude is like the most humble samurai ever. I shouldn't use the word humble. It's like if Samurai Jack was in a rated M game, he would be Samurai Jack. Or Samurai Jack would be Jin Sakai. I really like him. And I shouldn't use the word humble, and I'll explain why. He is wholesome. This guy just wants to do the right thing to protect his people from the Mongols, who are evil. Whether it be protect his uncle, the people who he comes across. He really is humble in the sense that no matter who he meets, He just wants to do the right thing. Whether he gives them advice, whether he protects them, whether he does favors for them, run errands for them. I shouldn't say errands. But yes, he is a samurai. But he's humble enough to help the common man. He'll take time out of his day. You got to play these side missions. He'll take time out of his day to help people. And I love that. He really is like a superhero of the land. The good Jin Sakai. There's a part in the game, and I won't say what, because I don't want to spoil it. And I'm only bringing this game up because the new one comes out next month. There's a part in the game where Jin Sakai, quote unquote, does the wrong thing for the right reason. And it was very controversial because it's not something he was trained to do. He was trained with honor, you know. Look your opponent in the eye when you defeat him. Well, he has to do something basically to save lives. And when this is done, he's looked at like, what the heck? Samurai don't do that, man. So it all goes to hell in a handbasket. And I just love how he kind of doesn't care. He just wants to do what's right. But you live by the samurai code. It's not always so black and white to live by that code. So it's like, is he really a samurai or not? That's kind of the conundrum. And I guess you could say that's another reason why they call him the Ghost. Because he's not a traditional, true samurai. He is, but he isn't at the same time. That's what makes this character great. And there are a lot of curveballs, I'll say. Like, I didn't know this game was going to be this fun. Let's talk about the graphics for a second. When you're traveling, when you're in some of these areas, especially on Iki Island, when the flowers are falling off the trees, when the wind is blowing, when you can hear monkeys and cats and stuff in the background, when you're close to a waterfall, when you're relaxing in the hot spring, when you're doing these things, man, it's like you forget you're even playing an action-adventure game. I guess you could call it a role-playing game. But some of these scenes are just so peaceful. It's just incredible. That and the cutscenes when he's having conversations with people. It's priceless. So, everything about this game, do I need to talk about the combat? Yeah. So the combat, oh my gosh. So there's 4 different fighting stances. Stone stance, that's the main stance. Wind stance. The water stance. And there's another stance. I can't remember the name. Each stance has its own purpose. So depending on who you're facing, you might have to change that stance up just to defeat that opponent. Like, if you're fighting somebody who has a shield, someone who has good defense, you have to switch to the water stance. Whereas a traditional enemy, you use the stone stance. If you're fighting somebody with a spear, you might use the wind stance. I mean, you got that. He learns these different moves from different elders and masters. One thing you learn is how to use the fire blade. I'm going to call it that. That's when you light the whole blade on fire. And when you cut through people, they burn down while you're cutting them. That's dope. There's another one. It's like this super move where you slash three people at once. I mean, there's this one move where if you dodge at the last second, time slows down for like a split second. It gives you that opening. Oh man. And I've kind of seen that before in like Bayonetta and Transformers. Whereas when that happens, the time slows down for like a longer time. But this is so rewarding because you don't just dodge. When you dodge, you just dodge. But when you dodge at the last split second, like the screen turns gray for like a split second, and it's dope. When you parry, that's dope. The combat really is timing based because you can actually, if your timing is on point and if your parrying is on point, you can slaughter like a whole group of people without even getting touched. That's if your timing is on point. Another benefit to this game, after you beat it the first time, if you played on New Game Plus, you can actually go back. For one, you go back with everything you earned the first time around. But what's even better than that is you can actually go back to old missions in the campaign and repeat them just for the hell of it. Just for the fun of it. And I love that stuff. I mean, he has another move where... See, Jin Sakai, he learns a lot of moves. And there's so many different ways to kill. He learns this one move. It's like... You have to use resolve to do it. You press like triangle and square at the same time. And it takes one circle of resolve out. This man can just slide through. It's like an unblockable move. We'll put it that way. So you got that. You got the one that uses 3 resolve. That's the bumpers. That's when you hit 3 people at once. There's another move. It's like a sneak attack where you basically, it's a stealth kill, but you can do it up to 3 people or more. As far as the stealth goes, it's not a traditional samurai way. That's why he's the ghost. Because you can fight people head on. You can actually duel people, but you can also sneak around and be a ninja. Alright. Speaking of ninjas, so the challenge mode Legends, there's 4 characters you can use. You can use the samurai, you can use the ronin, you can use the hunter, and the last one's called the assassin. The assassin's pretty much the ninja, but the assassin is the ninja, the samurai is pretty much the same as Jin Sakai. The hunter uses the bow and arrows, and the ronin is kind of like your friend who you fight in a campaign. And they all, for the most part, have the capacity to do the same thing, but certain weapons you can use and certain techniques only that individual can use. Like the hunter, I believe. Well, no, that's not true. There's other people who use the longbow, not just the hunter. But let me say this to end this. The way you progress through this game, because I could talk about this for a long time. The way you progress through this game, the character from the beginning to the end, he really is a totally different character when this game is over. It's like the wisdom he gains, because he's already wise in the beginning, but the wisdom and the knowledge he gains and the skills, oh my gosh. Because I remember when I first started this game, like, your skills like suck. Like the only thing you have is like the stone stance, and that's about it. You got your heavy attack and your light attack. You can still dodge, whatever. But later on, you get like smoke bombs, you get kunai knives, you get not just smoke bombs, but like actual throwing bombs. You got a grapple hook that your boy makes you. Oh yeah, that's another good side story. The guy who makes you the grapple hook, him and his sister, they're great. But yeah, you got that. You got the different stances. You got the sword that can catch on fire. You got the different techniques. It's like, yo, they really put everything. They really put everything into this stuff. If you parry somebody, even if you don't parry, but if you block somebody's attack, you can hear the sword cling through the controller. Some of the townspeople in different villages, they'll talk to you. There's like merchants and things like that. There's a person who can dye your clothes. There's a tailor. You got your swordsmith, your arrowsmith, all these types of your blacksmith, all these different types of people. And the voice acting is really good. Like, it's really convincing. But like I said, this game goes hard. I swear it goes hard. They get it in on this. I can't really say anything bad about it. I really like the relationship between you and your uncle. Because Jin Sakai, his father, is no longer with us. And they explain all that in Iki Island, what happened to his father. That's why you got to get the DLC. But it's great to see Jin Sakai kind of become his own man after a certain point. And things do change from 0 to 60 after a certain point as far as him becoming his own man. So once that happens, it's like, wow, I can't believe this just happened like this. Also, I'll say this. I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a part towards the end where you choose which route you're going to go. Kind of like in Spider-Man Web of Shadows, some games you're able to choose your fate, like Jedi Knight Academy. The more bad deeds you would do, the more you lean to the dark side. The more good deeds you do, you would lean towards the Jedi. Kind of like that. I remember in Spider-Man Web of Shadows, when you did more bad deeds, the symbiote would take over more. When you do more good, you're more of the traditional Spider-Man. Anyway, in this game, they give you a choice as to how you're going to go about a certain situation. And depending on that choice, it essentially could affect the whole rest of the game. So that's why it's beneficial to play it twice. Because me, I wanted to see what would happen if you do it the other way. The problem is, there's a new game coming out. So that's why I think the new game takes place like centuries later. Because it can't be a continuation directly from this game. Because there's two different endings. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think this game is just going to be like a myth, like a legend in the second game. Because you can't piggyback off of this game with the second game because there's alternate endings. So it's a classic. It's got to be a 10 out of 10. For one, it's the only Ghost of Tsushima they made. People try to compare it to one of the Assassin's Creed games, and somebody would say, like, this Assassin's Creed is better. I'm like, Assassin's Creed has 30 games. Ghost of Tsushima only has one. Like, Assassin's Creed should be better, which I doubt it, because ever since Assassin's Creed 3, they've probably been trash, as far as I know. I shouldn't call them trash, but they're useless, because the whole series is ruined. I talked about that a long time ago, but this is something fresh. This is something you can rock with. That's a fact. Straight up. All right. I'm going to go to the park. Take one of my practice swords with me. Do some... I went to the park about a year ago and I did that. And these teenagers, they're walking that way and they say, "Get it, get it." Y'all don't know nothing about that. I like being out there because when I'm out there, it's like you're one with nature. It's just you and that sword and that wind you can feel on your skin. Man. I also like to practice because in case if I have like a home invader or something, I'll be more prepared to defend myself. But it's something peaceful to do. It's something nice to do. And one thing about this game, when you're not in combat, those moments, especially when you're on your horse, shout out to the horse, those moments really are peaceful. Also, you build a bond with your horse. You get to name it. Your horse is your fellow companion. I named my horse Nobu. Yeah. No, Nobu was the truth. That stuff was nice. Even Nobu has his own moves. Like, you develop this one move where the horse can actually charge at the opponents. When you're riding your horse, you can jump off the horse, slam the sword down into somebody. So you're using the horse as a vehicle. It's kind of like when Batman would jump out of the Batmobile and like pounce on somebody. It's kind of like that. But everything from that to the grapple hook to all the gadgets to the special moves to the stances, the music, the wind. Oh, so you know how every game there's a map? This game, it has a map, don't get me wrong. But this game, the wind is your map. So when you slide the sensor on the controller upward, whichever direction the wind is blowing, that's the direction of your destination. So you really are one with nature. Also, when the weather changes, that's beautiful. When it's nighttime, that's beautiful. I like to hide in the tall grass when I'm fighting people. I mean, it just goes on and on, man. The bandits, all the enemies you face, man, are like deadly foes. Even the archers. It's incredible. This is one of the best games I've played, like I said, ever. Ever. It might be one of the best games on PlayStation 5. It was on PS4 also. But it's definitely one of the best games as far as action adventure goes. You know, it's been almost 30 minutes, so let me get out of here. Pick up Ghost of Tsushima. This is Greggatron, and I approve this message. Now, peace.